One team, one podcast back at you. It is Maddie, your boy. Thursday, NFL starting today. It's a happy day. It's a happy day, even though we got our ass handed to us on Sunday last week, Florida State game. So no recap shows like I used to do back in the day. But if you follow me on Twitter, you saw my reaction to it all. And your boy's been getting a lot of heat from Florida State fans, and deservedly so. I was talking a lot of shit. So um, I'll dive into all my thoughts, kind of what we've talked about with the Florida State game, and kind of what I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend, getting back on the field, kind of like a fresh start for the season. We'll talk about that too. Kind of go over some picks for this week. I'll actually be in New Orleans for the Tulane Ole Miss game during the day on Saturday, so that'll be fun to kind of like watch a game without really dogging the fight. But want to give a shout out to our sponsors real quick. Bank of England Mortgage, Patrick Michelson over at Bank of England Mortgage is actually going to be switching companies now. It's going to be Highland Mortgage. So I'll get you all the information on there, but you can still call his phone number. That's what I want you to take out of this. 225-939-9878. Patrick will help you with any of your mortgage needs. Call him directly. Just call him. Tell him what you got going on. He can help you through the process. Great guy to deal with. Talk to him about LSU. His dad played at LSU, so he would love to talk to you about it. Also, River City's Total Maintenance. Lucas Orgusi still hot and heavy. He was texting me about the Florida State game. He's got his own opinions as well, similar to mine. But you can give him a call. I'm sure your AC it reached 100 again today. It's freaking September 7th, and it's 100 degrees. It's crazy right now. Call him 504-841-3300. And if you talk to Lucas, he's going to be in the North Shore, New Orleans area. But if you had something happen in Baton Rouge, I bet you he would still help you out. So give him a call, NOLA-AC.com. So Bocock Brothers Cigars, big shout out to Doug and Bryant Bocock out of the Houston area, but went to LSU grads. And you can see there was Dylan Cruz smoking a Bocock Habana cigar after the championship. So give those guys a call. Huge LSU fans, doing big things in the cigar community also. So appreciate Bocock. All right, so let's talk about it. LSU, Florida State, 45-24. Everybody's kind of heard all of the talk back and forth, I'm sure, about the game. And I kind of want to talk about a few things. I rewatched the game. Not terribly happy about rewatching the game, obviously. But after the game, I was surprised. The biggest surprise that I got from LSU fans as a whole, and I shouldn't be totally surprised by this because this happens all the time. After us giving up 31 straight points in the second half and looking like Swiss cheese on defense, not being able to guard anybody, getting knocked around, efforts being questioned, heart, toughness, all of that's being questioned in the second half. Do we really give a fuck? We're on the field. Do we really care? Florida State's just running it up the score on our defense. Our defense looked like trash. Harold Perkins is running around, doesn't know what he's doing. I saw a play where it was Harold Perkins and Spates go back in coverage, and they're just standing there. There's nothing to do, and Travis kind of barely rolls out and hits a guy, and first down. After looking like trash in the second half, giving up 45 total points, 31 in the second half, the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is Jaden Daniels, the answer at quarterback. That's what's talked about. And it took me by surprise only because there's such a glaring hole here of what was wrong Sunday. And it was Harold Perkins completely out of position. Not able to guard their wide receivers. It was 2 third downs in the first half that, you convert one of those first downs, they don't score a touchdown. They literally scored right after both of those. Um, it's such an obvious problem. They had great wide receivers. I think we all understand that now. Really good offensive game plan. Jordan Travis is really good. But our defensive scheme, starting with Perkins and all the way out, was just atrocious. It's terrible. But that's the takeaway that LSU fans wanted to talk about. And that was, I still see it. I still see Garrett Nussmeier needed to be in the game. That is not the reason why we lost at all. And it's okay to criticize Jaden Daniels, and I've done it before myself, but like that's not the problem. And until we fix that problem, you're going to lose Ole Miss. Um, I, I need to see more out of Missouri, I guess, but you're going to lose 3 or 4 more games if your defensive backfield and your defensive scheme is not corrected. Already sounds like they're moving Harold Perkins where they need to be moving him back. Brian Kelly's press conference was a complete shit show, in my opinion, saying those things about, we got to think about his NFL career. I understand what you're saying, but that is not what anybody wants to hear right now. And he's a really good communicator. I thought he did a shit job of talking about that. But of course, we're talking about quarterbacks. We're talking about Jaden Daniels. So one of my takeaways from this game was going back to the first half. At halftime, I understand we left points on the field. I understand all that. It felt like we dominated the first half. And let me know if you're in YouTube, if you're watching this, let me know in the chat if I'm a fucking idiot. You can tell me. Social media, people have already told me that, whatever. It felt like we dominated the first half, and obviously it could have been worse. We were up 17-14, made mistakes. Florida State made a boatload of mistakes in the first half. We didn't take advantage of where we needed to take advantage of, but at the end of the day, they never stopped us. They never stopped us up and down the field. They couldn't stop us. We had obviously the very first possession, we're down at the 1 and can't score. We had another goal line attempt, couldn't score. And this is kind of what I said on Twitter the other day. I was trying to be positive Polly. Somebody needed to. But I said, if you score one of those possessions, just one of those possessions, you score a touchdown. Attainable, right? You're at 24 points, right? So we had 17, we're at 24. Florida State converted a 3rd and 14 on their first drive, which immediately the next play they scored on a Keon Coleman touchdown. They also converted on the third drive, I believe, a 3rd and 12. 3 plays later, I think they scored on another Keon Coleman touchdown. If you stop one of those third downs, it's score 1, stop 1. That's all I'm asking. Very attainable. 3rd and 14, 3rd and 12. Get a little pressure. Something can happen, right? On one of them. It's 24-7 at that point. It would be 24-7 LSU. How would you feel? Another glaring stat to me at halftime was total yardage. We had 293 total yards at halftime. They had 218 or something like that. We were up by 80 yards on them at half. Jaden Daniels had 180 something passing yards in the first half. They weren't stopping us there, and I understand that we didn't score on the times that we should have scored, and I put that less on Jaden Daniels than I do our play calling at the goal line. And then people are probably going to say, "Well, your play calling would be different if you had Garrett Nussmeier in." Maybe you don't know that. I've seen Les Miles throw somebody out there. Doesn't really matter if they were a passing quarterback or not. He was still running the same shit. So I think there's a lot to take away from this game. And for LSU, in their locker room, there's a monster list of things that they need to improve on. And I do have confidence that they're going to adjust. You just wished it would have been at halftime. Now, the biggest problem, obviously, we just talked about the defensive backfield and the scheme and all that, but it wasn't even that. It was really after the interception, where I still haven't seen the backup view of what happened with Neighbors. He fell, but I kind of never got to see that. They never showed it on television, so I'd need to go back and see if I could find like a you know broader view of it. Um, After that interception, LSU looked like they gave up. That was the most concerning part. Actually, I shouldn't say that. After the interception and you gave up the touchdown, so it's 31-17, gave up. They gave up. I mean, maybe a few guys were trying, but at the end of the day, they weren't playing that hard. And Florida State wanted it. That was what I took away was obviously this fan base, we've heard them chirping for a while. They want to be bad. They want to be back so bad. This team was ready to be back. They want to be back. And they wanted it way more than we did. We may have been reading too much of our press clippings thinking that we were better than we were. I think you heard Brian Kelly talk about that too. It was very obvious when you watch it on TV or tape or whatever you want to say. Very worrisome, and that's kind of what I was taking away from those games. Now, the best thing for us to do now is to get back on the field against a team that doesn't belong with us, which is a SWAC school like Grambling. We saw it last year when we played Southern. It was like it was the best medicine that we could have. Get back right. You know, what are we looking for in this game? We're looking for Mason Smith to get some snaps. We're looking for Denver Harris to get some snaps. God damn it, we need a 5-star guard wide receivers. I mean, wouldn't that be correct? I want to see Harold Perkins in the right position because we saw him in the wrong position just now. That didn't work out very well. I want to see how our defense plays with that mentality. That knowing that everybody's lined up now and we're all in the right spot, let's go play with a hair on fire. That's what I want to see. And I also offensively, obviously, you want to see Jaden Daniels throw the ball downfield better. I think we all do. Like nobody's saying that he's great. Keep seeing all this shit about the Brian Thomas touchdown. I mean, the drop, the Brian Thomas drop, and obviously it was an underthrown ball by Jaden Daniels. Looked like to me it was like his second read. He turns around, he throws it, and it's short. It's underthrown, and then Brian Thomas drops the ball. Both things are true. Underthrown, and he dropped it. Obviously, yes, if he would have let him, if he was Joe Milton and he had the arm to get it there for 50 yards on his second read in 2 seconds, yes, he could have scored, but he didn't catch the ball. We're still in a chance to kind of stay in this game. So a couple of things like that starting going not your way, it just leads to a lot of negativity, and then they gave up. Obviously I do want to see Garrett Nussmeier. Last year in this game against Southern, he didn't play well at all. Terrible, actually. But I want to see him again. I mean, I'm not. I think I said this on Twitter. They had me defending Jaden Daniels, and I'm like, y'all got me out to be a Jaden Daniels truther today. Like that is not me. I love Garrett Nussmeier, and I do want a quarterback who can push the ball down the field. I just didn't think that all of the negative that came towards Jaden Daniels after the Florida State game was necessarily warranted with the obvious glaring issues. Like it was, like I said, the elephant in the room is our defense and our defensive backfield and our linebacker play. It was terrible. It was awful. And honestly, you could have Joe Burrow in that game. And I don't know how you're stopping Florida State. I still don't know. So why are we arguing? Why are we having this debate right this second? It doesn't make any sense to me. But yes, I still want to see Garrett Nussmeier. I want to see if there's a difference. If there's not only a difference in play calling, I also want to see a difference in mentality with the wide receivers. There is something to say about wide receiver having the confidence of their quarterback to give them the ball and how they play. I've seen that before too. Maybe they play a little bit, you know, they think the offense can move a little bit more and they can have a little bit more of a role. I do want to see that. I'm not an idiot. I understand that Garrett Nussmeier can throw the ball downfield. But I also think Jaden Daniels can do a lot of good things for you, that he's got tools that can be used to take you where you need to go too. So don't know how else to say that. It is what it is. But yes, I want to see a lot of new guys. I want to see some of these wide receivers. Where did they go? Chris Hilton. I want to see Shelton Sampson. I want to see Jalen Brown. I want to see, let's see, name them. Like, I want to see Lance Hurd, right tackle. Miles Frazier. Do we just need to go ahead and start Lance Hurd in this game? Slide Emory Jones down. That's what I would like to see. I want to see somebody different. I want to see some attitude. We got punked in a lot of ways. I think we all think Will Campbell is, one of the best tackles in the country, but to see Jared Verse just run right by him was tough. Very tough. It was more of an eye-opening, like, oh shit, we're not as good as we really thought we were. Like, this team is probably better. They have more talent than we do. It's tough to see out of a Florida State team, an ACC team. So I need some of this attitude back that we're all used to as LSU fans. Want to start seeing that, and really, you've got to get yourself back, basically headspace back to be able to go to Mississippi State in a week and just rain fire on Starkville. I'm ready to, explode into Starkville is what I want out of this team. And they have the talent to do it. If you go back and watch that first half, you will see that we have the talent to dominate a team like Florida State. Florida State made a shit ton of mistakes, don't get me wrong, but we still dominated that first half. We controlled it the entire time. We let it get away from us. We didn't take advantage of the opportunities. Granted, we still dominated that first half, and you can still do that. This is still a good enough team, but right here, mentally, that's what you need to get out of this week, is that confidence and that swagger back to where you go to Mississippi State and you punch them in the mouth. Mississippi State I saw the Southeastern game. They're all right. They're not great. You should go in there with that attitude of beating the hell out of them. And not just thinking that you will. No, you're going to go and do it. Like, that's, I think, the difference of this LSU game. This LSU Florida State game was they thought they could, but they didn't do it. That makes any sense. Like, it just didn't. There was it wasn't connected. It was hard to explain. Anyway, it's been a long week. It's like we got to get back to regular. I think the NFL tonight's going to help me in my mental space probably too. Just watching some other football, getting out of that whole, it's almost like a mourning period. But yeah, looking forward to NFL start, but also I have some college games that I really want to talk about. And I've got some shit from some people already about a couple of my picks for this weekend. And the first pick was I have North Carolina State. Notre Dame is going to North Carolina State. North Carolina State's a home dog, 7.5. And I think Notre Dame's being very overvalued here. North Carolina State is 1-0. They had a tough game against UConn, which is crazy to say. But UConn's better. They went to UConn, pretty much stayed in front of that game. North Carolina State's got a decent defense. I also like the under a little bit on that. It's 51.5. But I took North Carolina State 7.5 plus 7.5. I feel like it's a lot of points at home, a home dog against Notre Dame. I think they're riding this Sam Hartman train a little too much. They haven't played anybody yet. They played Navy and fucking Tennessee State. Give me a break. Like, who are y'all? Give me a break. Play a real team. So love North Carolina State there. Next game I love is Nebraska going to Colorado +3. I love Nebraska. Love them. Colorado riding the high, coming off of TCU. Great game. Watched the whole thing. Super impressed by Colorado. Little not so impressed by TCU. TCU looked like their defense was trash. Colorado made it spotlighted that. But I watched a lot of the Nebraska and Minnesota game, and Nebraska was up 13-3, gave the game away. Choke job, no doubt. It was like 4 minutes left. They're up 13-3, and they lose the game. Nebraska had a good defense. They were shutting down Minnesota. Minnesota really couldn't do anything until that very end of the game. I think Nebraska's defense compared to TCU's is night and day. Obviously, Nebraska's offense is probably not very good, but neither is Colorado's defense. I think Colorado coming back home, hearing all this attention, they're in the top 20, they're 22 in the country. I think Nebraska comes in there and doesn't beat them down or anything, but I think they win. I think it'll be a close game, but I love Nebraska +3. A week ago, before the TCU game, the future on that was Nebraska +9, and we're getting them at Nebraska -9, and we're getting them at +3. Take it all day long. So love that game. Got some great games this week to me. Ole Miss at Tulane. I'm going to that game. I told somebody I'll wear my NFL hat like Rob Lowe. I'll just be in the stands, neutral advisor. But the over-under on that game, I think it was 67.5. I took the over. Took it in 2 seconds. That'll go up to over 70 by the weekend. Took the over. Ole Miss is going to score and score a lot. I think Tulane can score a lot. To me, that's got a 50-30, maybe 40s kind of game. 40-30, you can see that easily. Ole Miss is pretty. They didn't play anybody this week, but I saw Jackson Dart. I saw enough of them. Judkins, they really didn't have to play into too much this past weekend, but they're good and they're gonna score. They're gonna score a lot. Lane Kiffin's just gonna score. At Tulane, it'd be a fun environment, in my opinion. I think that would be fun. I have no idea why Ole Miss agreed to go to Tulane, but whatever. I'll be there. You got A&M at Miami. A&M's -4. A&M, to me, their defense is going to be pretty good. I don't see how Miami's going to be able to score enough. I don't think A&M's going to be able to score that much either, but A&M's defense is going to be good enough to where that's -4. If you can get it down to 3, I would take that all day. And I'm not a huge A&M fan or anything. I just don't think Miami at home gives you any kind of added value or anything like that. So, and then we get to, I think the game of the week really is Texas going to Bama. And I don't see the spread on that. I think it was like 8 last time I saw it. Yeah, 7. So Alabama -7 at home with Texas. I haven't seen what the over-under is on that game either, but if I had to take that right now, I would take Alabama -7 and see if you can bet it down to 6.5. Let me see if I can find an over-under. 54. I actually like the over there. Even though this game was tight last year, I actually like the over. I think, I don't know, maybe not. maybe not. Alabama's playing murder ball this year. So Alabama's got three offensive linemen over 350 pounds. They're going to try to run the ball down everybody's throats. Jalen Milrow is going to try to roll out and scramble a little bit, make a couple plays, beat you with some play action. Old school Alabama football, it seems like. And can Texas, put up any points against them? They didn't really do too much last year. They held Alabama pretty well, actually. 19 points, 19-17 Alabama. I would still take Alabama there. 7, I don't know. I'm not probably going to bet that game at all, but I will definitely be watching. And obviously we have LSU Saturday night as well, so I'll be kind of like figuring out how I'm going to watch the game, whatever. Not sure if I'm going on campus yet or not because I'll have the Tulane game, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe be out there. But my pick for this weekend for LSU. Last year, obviously, we beat the hell out of Southern. Was 66-14, if I remember right. This year, I have us beating the hell out of Grambling. Hugh Jackson, Grambling, by the way. 59-7 is my score. We'll be able to score at will. But I also feel like the defense is going to be revived a little bit. They've probably been hearing it like crazy. Practices too, I'm sure, coaching staff, but also from, they all watch social media and they know what's going on. I feel like that's going to be a big difference in this next couple of weeks, is the defense playing a lot better because they're probably in a better position and in a better scheme. I don't think that we have coaches that are idiots. It just seemed like at halftime there was no adjustments being made, and that was surprising to me because last year you saw multiple games where we were down and then we made adjustments and then we took over the game. We came back and blew people away. Ole Miss is an example. Mississippi State was an example. You just didn't see that in this game at all. Like, I don't know what happened from the first half to the second half. No adjustments were made. Florida State made their adjustments. They didn't make the mistakes that they made in the first half, and you got blown away. And you gave up. I think there's so much to take away from this, and I think this is going to be a good bounce back week as far as your mentality to get you right for Starkville. And that's what I'm looking for. So 59-7, LSU blows out Grambling. We'll come back next week, talk you through Mississippi State. We may have an LSU rewind for a Mississippi State game. We can kind of talk about that too. If you have any Mississippi State game moments, shoot them over to me in the chat or on social media, and we can kind of get ready for an LSU rewind for next week's podcast. So I appreciate that. And all right, Patrick Michelson, give him a big shout out. Again, he's with a newer company. They're taking over Highland Mortgage. You can call him, though, so disregard the website, but call him directly, 225-939-9878, 225-939-9878. Patrick can help you through the whole mortgage process. Also, Lucas Ragusa at River City's Total Maintenance, NOLA-AC.com, 504-841-3300. Give Lucas a call. And Bocock Brothers Cigars, hashtag BeCocky, BocockBrothers.com. Go check out their full line of cigars. And you can find them locally here at a few different cigar distributors here in Baton Rouge. All right, with that, it has been Matt with One Team, One Podcast. We'll be back next week. Talk about Grambling, talk about Mississippi State and where we're sitting. And hopefully we have a little bit more positivity going on this week, guys. Come on, get your shit together. Get it together. It's been Matt with One Team, One Podcast. Logan out.